Hello, everybody, and welcome to Infamous Horrors and Infamous Interviews. Today, we are joined by James Duval, who has starred in such films as Donnie Darko, Independence Day, and now he has a new film coming out, a new horror anthology film coming out called Tales from the Other Side. So, James, how did you get involved with this horror anthology? Because it's kind of a cool setup, right? Because you
It's
got all these kids at a table hearing these different stories, and it's going to be really cool seeing that on screen.
well, it's been a really pleasant surprise, to be quite honest. We got the script last summer and filmed it in about 3 or 4 days
Oh, wow.
with some wonderful directors. The directors of Sushi Girl and of Mope, which if people haven't seen those movies, go check them out. Sushi Girl is a great crime thriller, psychological, like bend your brain, and Mope is how to make a porno movie if you want to get into it. So both completely, so you have those styles kind of like coming together and meshing in either or. But the pleasant surprise was that, when I got the offers for the interviews to talk about it, quite honest, and that had been chosen to become a part of an anthology film, because I really love, like Trick or Treat, or I
Right.
had the
Yeah.
pleasure of being in another one called Tales from Halloween with
Yeah.
the always effervescent, completely hilarious and genius Dana Gould, the ever talented. So I have a special place in my heart, not just for making them, but for watching them. So
Yeah.
it's really cool. Honestly, I'm shocked.
And your career, you've been all over the place with like big movies and independent movies. So, which ones are you like most blown away from being like creative control or people thinking outside of the box when it comes to independent films or big budget films? Like, which ones do you just sometimes get blown away by?
Well, I have to say, at least I've only done like a few really large movies, Independence Day and Gone in 60 Seconds. But I know that on both of those, the directors had quite a bit of control. Even Jerry Bruckheimer was there, but
Yeah.
they were able to do a lot of the things they wanted to do. But in that sense, you're also adhering to an audience to some degree, as to where with independent film or true independent film, you're just making the story regardless of anybody sees it. It's really more about the miracle of completing it and getting a chance to get it out there. And I admire that. I love that. I love the idea that, I mean, again, I had incredible experiences making big movies, but on the little movies, it's really more, the train going up the hill. Like, it's not, I think I can. It's like, I know I can. I know I
Right.
can.
And so, what were some of your favorite moments on filming Tales from the Other Side?
Well, the doctor that plays opposite me, played by Tanya Cornelise, is a fantastic actress. And so it's, without giving too much away, we meet my character in an insane asylum, and he may or may not be crazy. And as the story progresses and she goes on with the interview with him, and you find out what he's in there for, you have to question whether he really did possibly do those brutal murders, or was it somebody or something else. And it sort of turns sanity on its head, I think, psychologically, at least until you get to the very end. It has a few twists and turns, and we're hoping that that's the exactly kind of ride we want to take the audience on, keep you guys guessing.
Right. And like it's like the coolest little setup for this film. Like these three kids are sitting at a table, and it's just like this older lady telling them stories like what happens. And I think that's kind of like the intimate, cool thing of this film, that it's just that small cast just talking about these horror anthologies as well. So, what really stood out to you? Did you get to read the whole script or just the part of your anthology
I
film
didn't
in the
I didn't
script?
I'm sorry. Yeah, I didn't get to read. I only read my segment. So part of the surprise is to find out, to be quite honest, they were like, "Oh, we have some interviews for you for the Tales from the Other Side." And the first thing I thought was like, "All right, I've been quite busy during the pandemic, but I don't remember filming something Tales from the Other Side. Am I going crazy?" And then, and then I realized it was either or, being a part of these anthology movies. So it's it's a treat for me because I look forward to seeing the scene, you know, kind of like when you go on a camping trip or you're at your friend's or your grandma's house late at night and you start telling spooky stories. And then
Right.
these happen to be the spooky stories that unfold. I think that's very, very cool. And I was excited, you know, to hear about that. And I guess we're coming out soon in June, no? Yes?
Yeah,
June.
very soon. Yeah. So, and that has to be exciting too, that you guys are getting ready to come out. So a lot of people can see this film as well. So how do you feel that people can finally get to see Tales from the Other Side?
Well, you know, again, I couldn't be more excited to be a part of the announcement. And I actually haven't had a chance to see it, so I can't wait to watch it myself. But we are going to do the thing. We're going to get a group of people together and sit down and watch it. Have one of those kind of movie events.
And right before we started recording, we were talking about a story you had on Donnie Darko when you were really young in your career, and you had all these great actors on set like Jake Gyllenhaal and Seth Rogen. A lot of people tend to forget that he was in Donnie Darko. So you told a great story. Do you mind telling that story again from the interview?
Not at all. It was Donnie Darko. Not only did I love the story when I read the script, and I was thankful when I got it, and even the movie was beyond anything I had imagined. But making it was also one of the best experiences I've ever had. So all the actors I had worked with, you know, with Jake Gyllenhaal and Seth Rogen and Alex Greenwald and Gary Lundy and Stuart Stone, the two guys who played Jake's best friend, and Gretchen's character played by Jenna Malone. Everybody on that movie was so friendly and so cool, no egos, happy to be there. We spent, you know, since Jake was shooting a majority of the time on set and we just had scenes where we came and went, Jake was sort of just like, hey, why don't you guys just hang out in my trailer? So I had a guitar, Alex Greenwald had a guitar, I think Gary, or I think there was 2 or 3 guitars floating around, and Alex, you know, plays in that band Phantom Planet. And he
Oh,
was
well, I
so,
had no idea. So,
oh yeah, and he was so great because again, no egos. Everybody was just sharing the guitars and singing songs, and even Alex was supporting us when really he could have just given us this big show. You know what I mean? And when you have that kind of camaraderie and friendship, and I think openness with other actors, especially doing something that you think is really cool, it really, I mean, it's like a movie saying it, but it was one of the funnest experiences I ever had. Making Donnie Darko and working with all of these people was a magical experience.
so
Definitely as
James,
cool as he was then as
yeah,
he is now. Cooler now, even, I'm sure.
yeah, of course. So James, what's next for you on your film projects or TV series you may have in the mix? What's next for you?
Well, I was up for this series, this crime series drama, but it ended up kind of falling apart. But at the moment, I have 3 movies out. I have a movie called I Challenger that's available on streaming, and I play this 40-year-old gamer, kind of stoner comedy, who sells marijuana to underage kids looking for direction in my life. And and I decide that I watch these Russian videos on people burying themselves, and I decide, well, that's what I'll do. To find my luck, I'm going to bury myself underground for 24 hours. Then I'm going to live stream it, and then it'll become viral. And, you know, even if I don't get lucky, I'll make all this money. And let's just say that it doesn't quite go the way I plan. And then there's your kind of sort of challenge in the film, where the movie kind of takes this dark turn. But it was. I'm really proud of it. We just won the Film Thread Award for best. What the F is this movie even of the year award?
That's awesome.
Literally about 3 days ago. And we're very, very proud of it, the director and I. So if anyone gets a chance, come check out I Challenger. And then I have a movie also out right now called Without Ward. And it stars Michael Gladys from Mad Men, who's my son. It also has an incredible supporting appearance by Martin Landau, if you remember.
Oh,
Martin
wow.
Landau, one of his last movies. Yeah. So we had shot this movie in 2012 about this family being in quarantine after being asleep for 20 years under this wonder drug created by Martin Landau. And half the world goes on this drug and then wakes up. And since the other half of the world doesn't know what to do, they put everyone on house arrest and they're all in quarantine. Flash forward to 2 years later, this family's been quarantined for 2 years and they're just getting on each other's nerves and they want to get out, but they can't under penalty of death. And then poof, start the movie.
Wow.
So that's Without Ward. And then there's a band called Boy Harsher that has a kind of this horror psychological thriller called The Runner, out on Shudder right now.
Okay.
And they made this album and then they built this entire little movie around it. So it's really kind of cool. And since I'm a really huge fan, you know, when they asked me to do a little cameo in it, I jumped at the chance to do it. So I'm really happy about that. I'm really proud of it. So those three things are out. And then I guess to round it out pretty quickly, I'm about to, you know, I shot a couple of other movies during the pandemic. One where I play a pornography director who wants to make regular movies. I don't want to do porn anymore. Kind of a dark comedy. So hopefully that comes out well. And then I'm shooting a movie right now called The First Circle, based on Dante's Inferno. So like the 9
Oh,
levels
that's
of
really
hell.
cool.
Yeah, this is a horror psychological thriller to boot that I think everyone will be excited about. We had Michael Madsen, we have Chris Browning, we have Natasha Henstridge from, you know, Species, we have Mike Starr. We have an incredible cast of characters, and let's just say all these characters are kind of moving through purgatory into the first level of hell, but they don't know it. So we, as the audience members who do know it, are going to watch this, and it's straight down the pit of horror. So I'm really, really looking forward to this one.
Well, James, thanks again so much for joining us today. It's been really fun talking to you, and congratulations on the film.
Oh, thank you, and thank you for your patience. And you know, I had a lot of coffee this morning. Everybody, my apologies.
Well, James, have a great weekend and a great Memorial Day, bud.
Thank you too, AJ. I appreciate it. And you stay safe out there. Stay safe, everyone. I'll see you all soon.